Hello, Linux lovers. That caught me by surprise. I wasn't paying attention. Hello, Linux lovers. My name's Wimpy. Welcome to my world. I'm just going to be doing a bit of tinkering today, and also making sure that this works, which it worked fine when I did the not live test, but I need to reboot my bots because they misbehaved in the intro there. They didn't do any of the things they were supposed to do. So we'll give them a reboot and we'll see if they work. Let's see if they're responding. Let's just give them a quick ping. Oh, that was clever. Mini Roach, how on earth did you do that? Oh, because the bots haven't hidden the game. Oh boy. Okay, so this is a brilliant start, isn't it? Let me just go and deal with that. We need to go and hide that. Right, come on, brain. Let's just go and deal with that little issue because that's not gonna work. Let's do that. There we go. That was an experiment I forgot about that I left enabled. Right then, there we go. That should be done. Right, hello, welcome. Hello, Mini Roach. Hello, Steve. Hello, Drummer. How you doing? Fun while it lasted. Oh, did the redeems come through? It didn't work, did it? Okay, what the heck? It worked for me, but did that clearly didn't work for the actual redeem. Oh. So I wonder what's going on with my my flipping thing that's supposed to handle that. Yeah, hello, Linux Super. Yeah, that didn't work either, did it? What the heck? Okay, what have I broken? Can't even remember. I've rewritten all of this. Typical. Well, okay. I'll tell you what, we'll mark this up as one of the things that maybe I need to go and listen to, have a look at and fix whilst I'm here. So this is the first stream of the new year, first stream since I rewrote everything, and as you can see, maybe not going that great. So we'll investigate why the bots don't work at some point in the middle of all of this, and I've got some other bits and pieces that I just want to tinker with. Usually in the evening I just faff around with stuff. So I'm going to do a bit of faffing around, and it's an opportunity to see what's working and what's not working. Clearly the bots are busted. I don't know why that might be. I think we'll just try and fix that. So let's go. They are working. They did respond to the texts. It's yeah, we'll just go and be a bit more ruthless with the bots here and see if we can get them bursting into life. What was it you? Can I do that? No, or that? There we go. I can at least manually trigger the ones that people are selecting, so I can do that as a backstop. Don't all do shitloads of stuff. I won't be able to keep up. Right, let's think about this. I need to go here. We'll start by giving this one a complete refresh. Okay, and then we'll give this one a complete refresh. I don't think that's working at all. Oh, there we go. That one is. There we go. They've both woken up. Let's see if those work, and we'll see how we go. So let's have a look here. First stream of the year and issues. Yeah, it's my own fault. I've spent as much spare time as I could muster over the break, literally rewriting everything behind the scenes. So it's unsurprising some of this is busted, I suppose. Some of it's working though. The new cool stuff is working fine. It's some of the older stuff that I've ported is not working so much. Yeah, that didn't go either, did it? So let's see. I think I can do that. There we go. All these animations. I wonder if it's because I've reworked. No, it can't be, because these are triggering the same things. And what was the other one that we saw here? That one. There we go. So yeah, indeed. I wonder why that's not going. Like I say, I did a run. I do an offline test, and the bots were behaving themselves just fine, and now they've decided to stop it. Yeah, indeed. Never mind. I will figure that out. It's got me thinking though, because I can't imagine why that wouldn't work. Oh, I tell you what, let's try this. Let's go up here and do a test. Dashboard, how does this work? Is it that? There we go. Let's edit that. Right, I'm going to fake something happening on the stream and see what happens. Let's do a follower. Oh, see, that worked. What the heck? Okay, that isn't a real follow, by the way. That was me clicking on debug stuff. Well, it is a New Year's mystery. Trying to message people. Okay. Yeah, I am thinking, because I don't actually know where to start with that at the moment. I feel like that's probably some kind of authentication related thing, and I really can't do anything about that on stream because I'd have to expose keys and stuff. So I'll have a think about it, but it's curious. How do I know any of this works? I don't actually. I suppose I could look in my local log. Let me just, I can't put the, oh, maybe I can put, let me see what's in these logs. Let me just have a look here. Let's see if I can see anything in here that might give me a hint as to why things aren't working. That's all the stuff that is working. Oh boy, that's a lot of nonsense. Okay. Nothing. Oh, here we go. What's this? Okay, that's fine. So I'm just looking through where my bots run. Error requesting your Twitch token. Ah, that's probably why this stuff isn't working. I can't fix that on stream. Invalid authorization code, it says. Okay. Well, that's why. It was working though. It was working before I went live, so that's weird. Okay, we will, that's something I'll have to fix after the stream. I might just leave that debug up here, so I've got, if I see anything weird, I've got a reference to it. Right, so what am I going to do? Well, I've got a couple of little things in my Nix configuration I've been meaning to change. Let's do this. Happy 2024 to you as well. Rick Marks. Let's see this. What have we got? Let's see if this works. It does. So, is the system requirements webpage in the Ubuntu Mate website up to date? How is that minimum and recommended system requirement information determined and updated in the website? It hasn't been updated for a while.
Thank you for the follow, 412 Linux.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. But the last time I put it together, those were the specs of machines that I actually used to run things. And it's also kind of guided by the fact that Ubuntu Mate has been tuned to work on the Raspberry Pi 3 the last time we put those specs together. And that's got a gig of RAM. So it was kind of based on some old hardware that I tested it on and the fact that we got it going nicely on a Pi 3. So I think it's fairly accurate because I don't think anything significant has really changed. but I will check them at some point. For this LTS release, I'll probably drag out some older machines and do some testing and make an assessment as to whether, because whilst I can control the Mate layer bit in Ubuntu Mate, there's obviously a lot of stuff that is Ubuntu that I don't have control over anymore, and there may be changes there that mean that those specs may not be accurate. But for each LTS, I usually update them. Hopefully that answers your question. Right, okay. Let's just have a little look here. Okay. So, all right, okay. Stuff seems to be working. All right, except for the auth thing. Right. Oh, hang on a minute. Some of this stuff worked. So, that's because the alerts come through stream elements. That's a different authentication key. So that's okay. Hey Charafu, how's Arch Linux support now? What do you mean Arch Linux? What are you referring to? Yeah, so the follows and things like that are clearly going to work. They're coming through the stream elements API. That's using a different authentication token, so that clearly works. Oh, Intel Arc, of course. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yes, it's this one here. I've done a bit of testing with it. How can I put this? Underwhelming, I think is the best way. Unfinished. It's not great. So it's okay. There's lots of bugs. You can't really use it for reliable gaming because there's a lot of games that just don't work at the moment. It's okay for desktop stuff. Better for Wayland compositing than X11. I've seen some weird rendering bugs on X11. And the real reason I got it is because I wanted to play with the hardware encoders on it, which do work terrifically well. So for that purpose, it's okay, but it's not living in a box right now. No, it's not in a machine of mine, which kind of gives you an idea that, you know, I don't want to use it full time. I have switched up things here, though, and in the other office. So usually I've got dual GPUs still here, and usually I would encode these streams on an NVIDIA card that I've got in here, but I'm not doing that. This is all AMD Radeon powered encoding and compositing, so that's one of the changes I've made. So I've tuned the AMD Radeon encoder settings in OBS here, and it's not quite as good as NVIDIA in terms of quality. Certainly in faster moving scenes, like if I it's on the wrong screen there. If I do these sorts of transitions, if you sort of pixel peep, you know, if you know what you're looking for, you'll see some artifacting. So it's fine for this sort of, you know, live coding, talking head type of streaming. I haven't tested it, but I imagine game streaming will be average using the Radeon encoder. So I'll have to have a think about that. But I haven't fully explored the options in terms of improving the encoder support with Radeon. I've just done a couple of minor tweaks to sort of eke out the best from the Radeon encoder, which is basically giving it a load of bitrate to play with and turning up some quality settings, which weirdly in the Radeon implementation of the VA API are like the inverse of how that API quality settings are usually set. I had to read the source code to figure that out because it didn't work very well. So Mini Roach says Intel Arc, yep, it isn't better than on Windows. It isn't better than on Windows. I don't know. I know that Intel have been putting a lot of effort in on the Windows side of things. I keep seeing positive news there. With the kernel updates, I can see there are changes. I can see there are changes in Mesa. I am not following it too closely. Every so often I chuck it in a machine and have a test. It's okay. I'm hopeful it will continue to improve and it will be a genuine third option, maybe for the next generation. But at the moment, I'm kind of hoping AMD pull their finger out and improve the encoder support. I think I'm kind of over NVIDIA in terms of using that in my Linux workstations. Despite the encoding support being objectively better, it's just a faff, and their cards are so big, require so much power now. I don't think I'm going to go back to it, so I'm probably going to go all in with AMD and or Intel. And I've, at the office, that was the last NVIDIA only machine I had, and over the break I pulled out the NVIDIA card and put a Radeon card in there. So we'll see how it goes. Right. Speaking of AMD, are you planning on moving to one of the new Threadrippers this year? No, I don't think so. So this machine here is Threadripper. It's a 3970. So I got this in 2020. Does that sound right? I think so. September, October 2020, something like that. It's fab. I don't feel any need to replace it in terms of its performance. It does a great job. But boy, in the summer and, well, any time that's not like this, even now it's winter and I have that window open because this room will get ungodly hot with this machine in it. So I am thinking of changing this machine, but something I'm really thinking about things that are way more power efficient and don't generate as much heat. So if I replace this, I'm going to downsize considerably. And the one in the office is giving me all manner of hardware issues. I've figured out that it's either a CPU seating issue, so over time CPU is unseated slightly because it's in a vertical orientation, or the RAM is iffy. I haven't run memtest yet. Or the power supply. It's one of those, or the cables to the power supply. But because it's on such a small form factor case, any three of those things, I have to completely disassemble the machine to figure out if it's either of those. And I simply haven't had time for that. So down here, I've got some other machines, and I may just take a whole other workstation to the office, and just maybe even the old workstation I had here. I'll take to the other office and use that for a while because the instabilities there I just can't cope with. So, hello Windows, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. Right, okay, let's have a look. Got an interesting question here. So Windows says, do you have any sense for how Nix might deal with so many of their packages being outdated? It seems like they need much more automated, scalable processes for package updates if they want to avoid having an inch-deep, mile-wide repo. So that's interesting because you're kind of assuming that things could be more automated, and I don't think they can. There is a ton of CI/CD and automation that happens in the NixOS repo. Just about everything is automated except for the human peer review piece, which is kind of the unavoidable bit. So I'd be interested in why you think so many are outdated. There are outdated packages in Nix for sure. I have experienced that firsthand, and I do update packages in Nix and in Nix packages. And sometimes it can take a long time to get a review on those package updates. So I maintain a local overlay of those few packages that I really care about having the latest versions of. But I think it's a people problem or people power issue. I've noticed in the issue trackers recently on Nix packages, when you submit a new package, there's a reminder in there. Do go and check the other packages in the review queue and like do reviews and leave comments as to they're good to go to help sort of, you know, expedite that problem. So I don't think it's an automation issue because so much of it is automated. I think it's having people to get in there and look at the deluge. I think Nix repo is the 5th largest, most active on GitHub. I know it's significant enough that the NixOS Foundation have, I think it's a monthly call with GitHub because it's a set of repos of a significant scale. So hopefully that's sort of answered your question. But yeah, I think it's people. But isn't that's open source and Linux through and through, right? More people doing more things is something that we desperately need. Developers are universally time poor. Hello, Ads, how you doing? Good to see you. Happy New Year. Yeah, people, definitely. So Windows says it may have just been luck of the draw. Not too much luck of the draw. I have commented that there are some outdated packages. I've got some advice for you on that, actually. I'll show you in just a second. But I ran Nix for a few months and it seemed regularly find packages that were out of date. And you're exactly right. The CI/CD had done the work. Yeah, that's, I think, the biggest issue. So I'm running NixOS here. And in fact, curiously, I'm obviously streaming using OBS. I maintain, and let's call it an exotic build of OBS Studio. So I'm running OBS 30.0.2, but I'm running this in an Ubuntu 23.10 container. And that's partly because I haven't finished packaging all of the plugins for OBS that I need in Nix packages yet. And Nix packages has also got OBS 29, and I've moved my setup to OBS 30. So one way around that is I'm using container technology. So I'm doing all of this good stuff with all the GPU acceleration and all that shenanigans all in a container. Whilst I continue to work on stuff in Nix packages and get things up to speed there. Where was I going with this? So that's one sort of unusual way of tackling this. The other thing I've been doing is I have used app images on NixOS, which app images on NixOS work better than app images on any other distro that I've used app images on. And that's because the closure for the app image run utility in NixOS someone's done a load of research on like what all of the assumptions app image makes about libraries and stuff that the system should have available. That's been included in the closure. So app images do just work, and they work really well. I've not had any issues with app images on NixOS, where I know for sure I would run into issues if I used them on Ubuntu and Fedora. So that's a win, because a lot of the stuff that is outdated tends to be some of the proprietary bits, and that's usually available as an app image. And then Flatpak works really well on NixOS. I did a presentation about that at NixCon this year. It's on YouTube somewhere, I think. So that was the idea there being, if I wanted my family to run NixOS, how can I do that given so much of the system is a config-based, tool. So how do you give end users agency over the software that they want? So I had this idea of creating a shim of an operating system with Flatpak and FlatHub on top with an app store, so that users can just install the stuff they want that way. And more recently, snaps now run on NixOS. So for a little while, whilst I was working on fixing Git Kraken for NixOS, I was running the snap of Gitkraken. So yeah, some snaps work particularly well. So there's options outside of Nix packages now. Lots of options actually, which really help fill, you know, that sometimes if there's something old or busted, there's other options in terms of how you get that software. Yeah, so let's take a look at that as okay. Yeah, okay, all in NixOS. Yes, yeah, indeed, it is universal, isn't it? So Windows, I agree. In fact, some years ago, it's a long time ago now, we considered making a podcast called Universal Linux, talking about like all of these contemporary ways to run software on Linux. We stood in a room and talked about it for a very long time and even registered the domain, but we never went anywhere with it. Right, okay, so let's take a look at that. So let's switch here. So yes, this is the project that I maintain. It's not fully loaded anymore. It's this one here, OBS Studio Portable, and it has a number of interesting properties. So these are portable builds for Ubuntu of OBS Studio. And a portable build means that you can run the application, multiple versions of OBS at the same time, and the configuration for each instance of OBS is kept adjacent to the binaries. So this is helpful if you want to stream another copy of OBS because you want to do a tutorial. You can have a whole separate instance. So you know, it's a great way of doing that sort of thing, which I've done in the past. Or you can have multiple OBS instances, each with its own configuration for different streams that you do, which is how I use things. I've got 4 different OBS portables, and I use them for different things.
Hello, I've been using the distro box container on my NixOS machine. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on the stream, and I'm going to get to that distro box container in just a moment. I'm glad it's been working for you, so thank you for that, and thanks for the bits as well. That's super kind. Right, so these are portable builds for Ubuntu. They are tarballs that you can download. Here they are. You download them and unpack them. There's a script inside to install the dependencies, and you can run these independent of packages and Flatpak and OBS. You can still use the snap of OBS and Flatpak of OBS and the deb of OBS and this as well. So this is all good, and I build them for the currently supported versions of Ubuntu. But then it occurred to me that we could do something else. So how do I pronounce this? Nahum, is that how I pronounce that? As Nahum points out, there is a container image, and this is what I'm using right now. And this is part of the Universal Blue project. And this is basically an ingest of those builds that you've just seen on my project, and it turns them into OCI containers that you can run inside DistroBox. So there's all of the gubbins of how you do this, and the advantage here is this is OBS with, I think it's at the moment about 54 plugins. I just updated it a couple of days ago. 54 plugins, 2 Lua scripts, and a couple of additional themes. So that's what we have here. And then I worked with my friend Alan, and here we go. Is this it? Yeah. Worked with my friend Alan, and we took the same build and it's here as well. So the snap of OBS Studio is built from the same sources. So when we go and look at the Snapcraft YAML, you'll see here, look, it's just dragging in one of my builds directly out of there for OBS Studio Portable. And then we just modify the launcher slightly so that it operates inside of a snap. So this is one project that's now creating, 3 different ways to run OBS Studio on Linux. And so the portable name started because it was a way of running it in the OBS portable mode, but it's portable now in that this version of OBS is portable to any Linux. You can run this container on NixOS and Fedora Silverblue and other confined environments and regular distros too. So that's what we've got. And at some point in the future, what I'm going to have a go at, I don't know how well this will work, but I thought I could take one of these and wrap it as a Nix package and provide the closure, the runtime for this Ubuntu build in Nix as a way to get this project to Nix as well. So at some point, not today, but at some point I'm going to have a go at that, because I think that would add, well, it'd be good for me. It'll be a better way for me to run OBS than inside containers. It's a little bit tricky, the things you have to do to get it all working, but there we go. So there we go. Those are the OBS Studio things that I'm maintaining at the moment. And I've got a branch in the works at the moment called Fixes that I've just been tidying some things up. Yeah, I added support for 2404 so we can start getting early builds out for what would be the next OBS and dealing with some package naming stuff. So I've got that on the go, on the cooker, so to speak. So there you go. There's a couple of ways to run OBS on Linux in interesting ways. Yeah, Drummer, please do, and you can find us on Discord if you're not already in the Discord. So if you want to test things out and you run into issues, drop in there, let me know. The other advantage of having this one build that is now in multiple places is there's like a single place to fix stuff, which is kind of helpful. Oh, no, well, the Discord isn't super active on a day-to-day basis, mostly because I'd been on a big streaming hiatus for a very long time, for 6 months or so. Back now, though. Back at it again on the regular. Came back, realised everything was busted to hell and I needed to update my OBS configuration. So I've been working on that. So Ads asked, do you have time to show us how Nix packaging works, or have you done that a lot? I haven't done much of that on here, because really one of the reasons why I was on a streaming hiatus is new job, new Linux distro to work on, lots to learn, and I needed to focus on that. So I'm still learning. I've learned a good amount, I think. I can show you some simple packages though. Let's have a look here. This is my Nix configuration for my machines, and I was talking about like those local overlays. So at the moment I've been working on new versions of Gitkraken and also helping fix some issues with the Gitkraken Nix package. This is an interesting one because this is obviously it's a proprietary application, so it takes the published artifacts from Gitkraken and then wraps them, and it's this pattern you see a lot. You see it in lots of distributions. You'll see it in Arch and with Flatpak and Snap. Ingest some binary package that a vendor makes available and then scaffold the runtime around it. So Gitkraken's no different. These are all of the packages that need to be scaffolded around it, and here too. If I'm honest, I don't know why we have to do this twice. I haven't delved into it. I just understand enough to be dangerous with this stuff. But what's interesting here is you can see Linux x86, and you can see Mac here as well, ARM and x86 64. So I have a MacBook now, an M2 MacBook, and I can run Nix on macOS and actually get a very complete Linux, user space environment on macOS, which is pretty great. And I've started the process of installing NixOS for Apple Silicon on another partition on that machine as well, which is something I'll cover here when I've got that all going. But like any packaging thing, it's like the source, the metadata about the project, and then this is the way to make the derivation. So these are the things that need to go in the closure to provide the runtime for the application. This is making a desktop launcher. So it's different, but it's all the same stuff you find in any other packaging system. And then down here we've got some fix-up stuff. This is what I'm working with a couple of internet acquaintances to sort of fix up Gitkraken, and we're waiting for these patches to land in Nix packages. And whilst I'm waiting for those packages to land in Nix packages, I'm keeping this like local copy up to date, so I have a current version of Gitkraken. And in fact, we do that. Here it is. Here's Gitkraken 9.11 running, that's built from that package running there. So this pattern of, wrapping an existing binary with a runtime is common. It's common in Nix packages. It's common in every distribution. So this is what makes me think it should be possible to do something like this for OBS Studio Portable and take that Ubuntu build and just because it's basically just OBS, the Ceph runtime and all the plugins and stuff. There's nothing else. So provide all of the runtime through Nix packages. Should work. It should get pretty close. So I want to, have a look at that. And Charafew says, why not flakes? Well, technically this is a flake. So my Nix config here, here's the flake at the top level. And what this flake does is says there are packages here to include as if they were in Nix packages. And what I do is I keep these pretty much verbatim from the upstream Nix packages, because then it makes it easy for me to merge and port fixes and patches between my local repo and the Nix packages repo. So that's why these just mimic the Nix packages stuff. Yeah, it's a system config, and these are just packages that I have within it. Taken from Nix packages and then adapted locally. And this again, this is that patch there. Whoops, that patch there is waiting to land in Nix packages, and it's holding up the migration of DistroBox 1.601 into Nix packages. Now, Windows said about packages being out of date. Another little trick you can do. Let's think, where can we do this? Yeah, I'll show you. You can actually cherry pick packages from the current unstable branch of Nix packages and run them alongside whatever release branch of Nix you're running. So if we take a look, let's just look at how I do that. So this is the current release branch, 23.11. That's obviously November. So that's when this release of NixOS came out. So that's my Nix packages. And you can also see here, I've got Nix packages unstable, pointing at the Nix packages unstable branch, which is the current in development. This will eventually become 24.05 next year. Now, there is some other glue elsewhere in the configuration to expose this namespace to the rest of my configuration. I won't get into that now. If you look through this config, you can just find, if you just grep for unstable, you will find everything you need. But the way that I can use that is just trying to think. I've got where did I do this? Is it users? It might be in my users. Yeah, here we go. So here I have a bunch of packages that are just coming from the release packages stream. So all of these things are just coming from the regular packages. And then these packages here are coming from packages that are unstable. So Brave browser, Google, basically all the browsers, and Telegram. And the reason for that is these, like in other distributions, the browsers continue to get updated, but they get updated quicker through the unstable process. So these packages I continually pull from unstable, and over the lifetime of this release, so the next 6 months, it might be that there is a new release of, I don't know, Zoom that goes into unstable that doesn't get backported to the current release that I want. So I can just move this from here into my unstable packages, and now I'm able to get the newer versions of packages from the unstable branch. So there's another way to keep track of, like, the fresher packages. I try not to get too sort of hooked on chasing the latest stuff all the time, unless I absolutely need it, for reasons, for bug fixes or something, usually for bug fixes, or perhaps there's a feature I really need. Which is what brings me back to my little repo of patched packages. This is stuff that I rely on, or in this case, this is hasn't got a proper release yet. This is a sort of a Lua based systems programming language that I'm learning, and I wanted the current version because there were some fixes I wanted. So this is short-lived. These get ejected as soon as they're available in the upstream stuff. There we go. I can't remember how I got here talking about this, but there we go. That's my config. There's a bunch of stuff in here, and it changes all the time. It's only been 9 months I've been using Nix and NixOS, but nearly 1,100 commits in that time. So this is a pretty active repo, more or less daily changes. I do need to clean it up. There's some stuff here I don't need anymore. Right, here we go. May as well merge this whilst we're here. We've got a little CI job that's updated my lock file, so we'll go and do that. Right. And in fact, I did want to change some of my Git configuration because I wanted to put some more aliases into my Git config. So maybe I will go and do that, because that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's do that there. Probably don't need all these open now. Leave that one open. There might be stuff here I want to get to in a moment. Right, let's think about this. Let's go to Visual Studio Code. Nix config. Have I got any out? Let's see what changed there. Oh yeah, this is me playing with quant. That was it. That was what I wanted to check. I'm hoping the audio's okay, because I untested change. Let's just go here. Let's just check my Pipewire quantum configuration, because I was curious. Interesting. Okay. Oh gosh. Genuine question to those of you that are watching. The audio is fine, right? It's not like popping and crackling. Is my concern. Sounds good. Okay, Brilliant. Well, that's good. Thanks, Charafu. Thank you, Inferno. Hey, Inferno. Welcome to the stream. In fact, very much welcome to the stream. How did you find us here? Just out of interest. Always interested in how new people find these streams. Is that Donkey Show? Is that how I'm pronouncing that? Hey, hello there. I wanted to pop in and say thank you for your streams. Okay, I was hunting down some issues with cruise control and saw your VOD, which was super helpful. Oh, well, Donka is, I'm not sure how I'm pronouncing that. I've got some good news for you if you like a bit of cruise control, because I thought it might be quite helpful if I published my cruise control configuration. So I did. So that is in my Wimpy's World repo, and it can't be too far away. There we go, cruise control triggers. So this, I've got two cruise controls. One that is me, and one here. Let's do this. One here for Bella. Bella is my bot. So I have two cruise controls, one for Bella, the bot, and one for me. And this handles some of the automation and the not working channel point redemptions, because my authentication tokens are screwed apparently. So there you go. Have a look through there. It's reasonably well commented and hopefully not too cryptic. It's not intended to be a drop-in, you can just use this. It's just here for reference. But you can find, you know, all the stuff that I do in here, including my Deck API client that I've done. So this is the bit that's not working. But I don't think it's anything to do with cruise control. I think from the logs I saw earlier, it's because auth keys have expired, which shouldn't happen. But there you go. Donkey, okay, I'll do that. And hey, Inferno, it's fine that you've been, it's fine that, yeah, Charafu, isn't just this? There you go, I can trigger them manually. That's what you requested. For some reason, the auth keys for the channel points have died, but there you go. I can be a proxy for the channel points. If I miss them, somebody let me know. Oh, somebody said...
Gifted subs from Donk Show.
Oh, Donkey, thank you very much. That's very kind. Wow, thank you. So, if you just received a gifted sub from Donkey, make sure that you say thank you. Thank you very much. That's extremely kind. And I saw somebody... Mini Roach said, are you using Nix professionally now? Yes, I work here. I work at Determinate Systems, and I am privileged to work with the creator of Nix. So yeah, working on Nix and NixOS as the day job, and check out Determinate Systems in, oh, I don't know, 2 weeks. We've got some cool stuff that we've been working on that we'll be releasing. We've already got cool stuff. We've got all sorts of cool... If you've got a bit of Nix in your life, here you go. Here's a few things you can get from us already. So, that was... I'll put this in the chat. There you go. So, the first thing we have is the Determinate Nix installer. This is a reliable Nix installer. So if you're running Mac OS or any Linux that's not NixOS and you want Nix on it, here's how you can install it. And we've created this with a license that's compatible with Upstream, so that should they choose to replace the current installer for Nix Upstream installer with this, they can do so. And some of that work's already happening. And then if you're building Nix packages in GitHub, you want this. This is completely free to use. This will accelerate your builds. It basically makes a binary cache using the GitHub cache API, but all you have to do is just add this one line to your YAML and it does all of the hard work for you. Just you know, nice and easy, massive acceleration times. And I think the NixOS security team have now enabled this in their CI, because I think it was twice as fast when they added that to their CI jobs. And then you saw me, or if you were here, you saw me merge a PR. I've got some of these things enabled here. We've got a bunch of tools to automate updating lock files and checking security and stuff like that. And then Flake Hub. So the CLI for Flake Hub, and Flake Hub is this site here. And this is where all the good stuff's going to happen. So this is, think of it like the Snap Store or Flat Hub, but for Nix Flakes. So we're seeing people publish stuff here on a daily basis. There's all sorts of stuff in here. Some people's personal configurations, and some apps, and some things that are not even in Nix packages. So this is something we got started on a few months ago, and we've been building on. So this is embryonic, not a prototype, embryonic. First sort of stake in the ground, but we've got a whole bunch of stuff that builds on top of this. So if you're running Nix, because you don't need NixOS to run Nix. If you're running Nix, you might want to stop by here and have a little poke around. And if you're wanting to learn, then we also have this 0 to Nix. So if you want to get started on Nix, here is a place which will take you through the whole thing, teach you all of the lingo, you know, the TLAs and everything, and you know, it will bring you up to speed. So hopefully you can sort of start playing with Nix in anger. So there you go, some jumping off points. This is all from work, and this is us here. And like I say, this is where I work, and I've been working on a new website for work, in fact. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in here as well. So our installer has installed Nix a million times. So we wrote a blog post about what you learn when you install something a million times. There you go. Right then. Jungle Rob. Is that Jungle Robber? Okay, can confirm. The installer worked perfectly on Fedora Silverblue. That's good to know. Other interesting platforms that are supported, you can install Nix in containers using our installer, and on WSL2, and most interestingly, the Steam Deck. So I have Nix on my Steam Deck. It's a persistent install. You may have seen Valve helped us with that recently. So they were talking to our engineer Anna, who did most of the work on the installer, to help make it easier for us to maintain those installs over time. And macOS as well, which curiously is the most, well, outside of GitHub Actions. So our installer is also a GitHub action, so you can run it on the Ubuntu VM that gets created in the GitHub CI, and our GitHub action will enable KVM acceleration, so you can actually get full acceleration for your Nix builds on GitHub, and that will work for open source projects and paid builders. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Hello. Hello, our podcast. How the devil are you? Lovely to see you here. Well, Happy New Year to you and your family. If only Flutter projects could use Nix. Well, anything can use Nix. We've got clients using Nix in all sorts of interesting ways. What do you do for moderation on Flake Hub? What, in terms of content moderation? Not a great deal. We have a few automated checks and balances, but the way that you publish through Flake Hub is to connect your GitHub repo with a Flake that's in it with a CI/CD job. So it's all hooked up through that. Nice one, Ads. Thank you for thanking the good people here. Yeah, in fact, I've misplaced my... Oh, here it is. There's Steam Deck's just here. Just next to me. I thought I'd misplaced it. I've been playing on the little retro handhelds a bit much recently. Yeah, you are. From all the way back. Yeah. Like I say, it's been a good long time since I've been doing this regularly. But we're back to it now. I'm just going to click up here. Hey! Hello. So, just saying hello to all the YouTube people. Hello. I don't know if you're still watching. There's I don't know, about 13 people watching on YouTube. I am at some point going to fix the cross-site chat because that's busted at the moment. So hello Sneaky Linux. Happy New Year to you. I can't pronounce the next one, but hello Slack Jeff and Vincent and Eric who are joining us from YouTube. I am also streaming to YouTube. I think I'm allowed to say that. I'm just not allowed to encourage you to go elsewhere to watch. You're better off watching on Twitch anyway. That's where I've got all of the good stuff happening. So, Forgotten Magnetic Snake. That's a great name. Hello. Hello, welcome. Hello. How come you're a VIP? I don't recognize your name. Who are you? As I don't recognize. It's been a while. Yes, clearly. How do I know you? You can't be a VIP for no good reason. I've met you in person, most likely. If you're a VIP. But hello, welcome back. I don't know what name I previously knew you as. Right. Before all of that Nix chat, what was I going to do? I was going to update my config. Right, okay, Debget, okay. Right. Let's have a think. Let's do this. Let's go here. So, in fact, let's go to Gitkraken and get this checked in. So, yeah, that's fine. So I think what we'll do is just stage that all together. That's fine. 64. Okay. Oop, I'm a Horlicks of that. Right then. There we go. Let's then do a pull with a rebase to get that lock file update as well, and then push the whole lot up. There we go. Right then. Okay, those are those bits. Oh, you don't know me personally. Okay. Yeah, if it's Debget time, my policy has changed a little bit. These days, if I've met you in person and you come to the streams and stuff, I'll usually make people a VIP if they're not already a moderator or something. That's kind of how I'm doing things now. It seems like it's a bit crude, but it's a good way to sort of make sure I know people. And it's also a good way to encourage to meet people at conferences and events and stuff. Right then. So that's that done. Let's go and tinker with Git. So I've been having a play. Let's think now. What was it? It was diff T console default. Yeah. So this is my happy joy. This is the configuration for sort of my main sort of command line experience that I have. So this is all expressed through Home Manager, I think. Yes, Home Manager. And it's quite comprehensive. And the reason for this is when I install Nix on my excuse me, Stream Deck, I put Home Manager on the Stream Deck, and via this config, and that it means I can have the exact same user experience on any machine that I have. If it's a VM that I log into to do dev work, which I might show a bit later because I want to tinker with some OBS stuff, or if it's the Steam Deck, or if it's my Mac OS machine, the home environment is the same on all of them, and this is, broadly speaking, where most of that happens. So there's a whole bunch of packages. Well, first of all, there's some fonts. There's a whole bunch of packages here that I just have in my standard tool set. But in addition to the packages, if you're not familiar with Nix, the way it works is you can provide configuration. So you don't just bring a bunch of package installations with you, you bring the whole configuration with you. So when you do an update, you don't just get new packages, you get the same exact configuration everywhere. And this is the reproducible nature of Nix that I absolutely love. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Sometimes you don't need to include a package in a package list, you can just enable it. And by enabling it, that brings in the software and all of its dependent pieces. So this is a great example of, Atwin is a command line history tool. So all of my machines run this. Every shell, all of the history goes into this searchable database. So let's take a little look at what that looks like. So if I do Control R, it looks like that. And if I do player control, there's all of the player control stuff going back forever, that I've done. So I've got my usual command history on up down, but Control R is Atwin, and Atwin is always syncing. So every machine has access to that database of command history, which means if I'm at the office or on my laptop and I run a weird command, when I get home here, I can just Control R and search for it and run it again. So, that's a good question, Big Linter. Let me just grab this. There we go here. Oh, okay. There's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, Fleek is great. We work with the Fleek dev. He's published a flake. We helped make that lovely. Oh, chat paused, it says. Why? Ah, boy. Big Linter. Okay. What's the difference between Ansible, Chef, and Nix? So, Ansible and Chef are configuration management tools, but Nix is more than that. So it is configuration management that is deeply integrated into the very fabric of the packages. So with Nix, you can express configuration, as I was just showing. Let's go back to that. Oops, let's switch to the right scene. You can express configuration, which is, I want Atwin to be enabled, and I want integration with these shells, and I want it configured in this way. And that actually takes care of all of the package installation as well. So the configuration and the package installation all in one go. It's just, I'm most familiar with Ansible. I used Chef, it's been years and years, maybe nearly 10 years or longer since I used Chef. I used to use Ansible, and I've swapped out all of the Ansible stuff for the Nix configuration side of things. But as you can see, it's fairly comprehensive what you can do here. Just everything has, a whole bunch of stuff. I really like it. Not super fond of Nix the language. I tried to steer away from too much Nix expressions. I do get into it a little bit. But the configuration side of things I love. A whole bunch of aliases here. Super good. Where was I going? So Git, here we go. So I've recently been getting quite into Difftastic, which I love. It's the best sort of diff viewing tool I've encountered recently, and I've been going to town with that, but I really need to improve my aliases, my Git aliases, I think. Let's have a look. And Juju. So I used to work at Canonical. Didn't use Juju much. Juju is another configuration management tool, doing many of the same things that Ansible and Chef are doing. Nahum's got a question. Yeah, so Fleek is excellent. And in fact, if you're just getting started with Nix, you can install Nix and install Fleek and just have fun with Fleek. Brian does a great job on that. It's a nifty tool. It says you're using Pantheon. Yes, it is true. Yep, the system doesn't lie. I am running Pantheon desktop here on NixOS, and it is excellent. Once it's configured the right way, which, you know, we can also look at, because like everything about my systems is reproducible now. So let's just take a look at this. So I've got some stuff that installs Pantheon, but then I have this, which is a big old configuration file that configures every aspect of how Pantheon is configured, including oh no, I think I've got that in a different file now, but this is everything. So whilst I can still click around in the, you know, configuration tools and do all of these things by hand, every time I refresh my home configuration, these settings get reapplied. And I love that. You know, if I decide to set something up, I set it up in here, I do it once, every machine has the same configuration. It's fabulous stuff. Can't get enough of this. So good. But yeah, I've been using Pantheon for a year now, actually. It'll be, yeah, it's January, so yeah, for about a year I've been using Pantheon, and for a little while, whilst I was transitioning from Ubuntu to NixOS, there was a spell where I was just running Nix on Ubuntu, and I actually, through using Pantheon on NixOS, I side graded my Ubuntu install to Elementary OS 7, and so was running, you know, the same thing there as well. Now, what I've been doing is I've been doing some little tweaks and things. So let's go to my Nix configuration. So I've got git dlog, which it uses difftastic, and I love this. So this is a git log, but it shows the diff side by side view of everything in my git history. So I love that's the thing I merged from the GitHub action earlier. Yeah, oh no, I never install unless I have to. I mean, I worked on Ubuntu for a long time, obviously, you know, I know how to wrangle it at its very core. So yeah, this is a lovely Git tool where, you know, each commit you can see, you know, exactly what's going on. And what was the other one I did recently? dshow, which just show, you know, and if I have a commit that I could pump in there. And I've really been getting into this sort of supercharging or fancying up Git in the terminal. So, you know, I want to improve my Git experience in the terminal. I think I may have missed some bits here, so just let me check. Hey, Airstrike Ivanov, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you for the follow, Airstrike Ivanov.
Thank you very much. Oh, you can see the lights flashing there as well. Oh, hang on. Thanks for the follow. Does the follows? Oh yeah, that doesn't overlay any video on my camera. Yeah, when there's follows and things, the lights go crazy here. I don't know how I'm going to recreate that in the other office, but since I don't have control over the electrics there. So we were just talking about understanding Nix. I'm still new to Nix. So it's 9 months. I'm 9 months in. I've picked up quite a bit, but I'm still learning. 0tonix.com if you want to make a start. So a low barrier way to learn. It'll teach you a whole bunch of stuff, get you started in a gentle way. That's something we work on at work. Diff so yeah, so GoPro Slow Yo. I've tried Diff So Fancy and what was the other one? Delta, but I've settled on Difftastic. I like it a lot. Although I'm probably at the moment I've got this configured for Git Graph, which is just Git log with some bits enabled. But there is a project called Git Graft and a sister project called Git IGITT or something, which I'm going to integrate instead of this to get a better graph view in the terminal. Very keen on that. Not bad, just having my regular existential crisis. Try a new desktop environment or stick with KDE. How long have you been running KDE, Ivanov? So, any strategies on how one would go about introducing sneaking in Nix at work? Ooh, I do have some ideas about that, actually. Doesn't even have to be for everything at once. No, yeah, that's it. You've actually hit on it there, Jungle Robber. Dev shells, that we're seeing that. We have clients and customers where there is a Nix advocate in the team and they have started moving their dev shells to Nix, and suddenly everyone is actually running the same stuff, and that is a massive hook. So dev shells for sure, and then CI/CD to follow. Those are the places to start, in my opinion. Without a doubt, definitely devs. That's where I got started with Nix. Once I got into dev shells. In fact, I think I've got a project. Let's think. IA-get. Yeah. So, interestingly, I've broken it. What have I done there? That's a bad example. Okay. Wonder if this work. Oops, not that. There we go. So that's an example of a dev shell. I've just changed into the Linux Matters directory, which, by the way, if you are new here, I do a podcast with my friends called Linux Matters, and you can find everything you need at linuxmatters.sh. And in fact, before I went live here, we were recording episode 21. So yeah, we're a bit ahead in our recording. But yeah, if you like a bit of Linux, then Linux Matters podcast, I highly recommend it. But I've just changed into my Linux Matters directory, which is a Hugo project. And if I type Hugo here, I can run the site. And there it is all running. I'm just going to, can I do a new tab? And I'm going to change directory. I'm just going to change back one level. Okay. And if I type Hugo, now it's not found. This is where Nix really shines. So only whilst I'm in the Linux Matters directory does Hugo exist. And as soon as you're outside of that, Hugo does not exist. It just brings your environment into being purely. But I mean, you have to do a little bit of work here. It's not very hard though, and that's what I recommend. FH is a tool that we make at work. FH init, that will guide you through creating one of these dev shells for projects that you use, and it out of the box it supports a whole bunch of popular languages, you know, the various JavaScripts, Go, Rust, a whole bundle. There's a few it doesn't support. I've been learning a lot of Lua recently, and I want to add Lua support to it, but FH in it. So determinate systems, let's not be vague, let's show people where to get this from. Oh, hello. Why didn't that work? Wrong one. So let's think about this. Flake Hub. Probably as good a place as any to find it. H. There we go. So Flake Hub, if you're on Nix already, to get that. And yeah, Flake Hub is the business. Or FH is really great. Fantastic way to... It does a whole bunch of stuff, but the FH in it for creating dev shells will get you up and running really quickly. Just making sure what's going on there. I may have missed some things. All AMD with Wayland. Nice, Ivanov. I was just saying earlier I'm moving over to all AMD. Like, this is all AMD, and so is the other stuff now. Hyperland. Yeah, in fact, that's what I'm going to have a go at. For the podcast, I want to experiment. I'm interested in setting up a contemporary GNOME, because I haven't done anything with GNOME since I was at Canonical. And so I want to see how GNOME with their Wayland implementation is. So I want to get all of that set up, and obviously on NixOS it's really trivial to switch between desktop environments. You can just do a deployment with GNOME and try it out, and if you don't like it, you can just, from the boot menu, just choose the previous generation and just go back to where you were. So you can flip between DEs really quickly. So I want to give that a try to see what Wayland is like in the GNOME world, and then I want to set up Hyperland, because a friend of mine has Hyperland set up and it looks so pretty. I'm not sure if I'll get on with it, but I want to set it up because they're using all of the Wayland protocol extensions that come from WL roots and the various, you know, and all the stuff that the Sway team have done. So I want to then see how is Wayland on an environment like that, where they're open to extending the Wayland protocol, and then compare. And I want to then talk about that on the podcast. So that's something I'll probably be doing on stream at some point, because that feels like a nice evening tinkering project. I say an evening. It will take several streams to get all of that right, I'm sure, but it will be fun doing it. Right. Talked about the podcast. Late Night Linux. So, Big Linter, Linux Matters is part of the Late Night Linux family of podcasts. So yeah. We are the spin-off from the Ubuntu podcast, of course. It's all the same people. We shuttered Ubuntu podcast in September of 2021. We had no intention of coming back, but then in January of January of 2023, the three of us started talking about doing something, and it took a few months to sort of put it all together, but we're back now. Regular episodes every 2 weeks, and part of the Late Night Linux family of podcasts. And in fact, episode 21 that we just, although I think from episode 20 you'll probably hear about this. So exciting stuff happening in the podcast. Exciting for us, I'm sure. Maybe not so exciting for you, but the podcast is doing very well. So Go Slow Bro, you're got a new Mac M3. Very nice. I've recently got a MacBook Air M2, and I'm running Nix on macOS, and I'm partway through installing NixOS for Apple Silicon on another partition. But I love that laptop. Oh my god, so good. So good. The battery life is just it's reason to get them for no other reason, is just the battery life. Yeah, I don't hop much. Obviously I was on Ubuntu for a very long time. Had a brief period of running Arch sort of around 2011 to 2013. And now, and Debian, of course, because Debian maintainer still. But Nix is where I'm at now. I only run Debian and Ubuntu stuff in containers and VMs now. Don't run it on hardware anymore. This is one of the, if you've not got into the Nix ecosystem, if you do, it's hard to go back. Well, in my case, it's not just my case. Many people I have spoken to, once you start, it's impossible to go back. There's just a lot of good stuff. Right. Yeah, I obviously was on Mate for a long time. Still actively doing development work there, but all in VMs now. It's tricky. What I would like Mate desktop to be, all of the things that I feel would need to be added are in Pantheon. So it's like the Pantheon default configuration doesn't suit me. As you saw, I'd got a massive config for it, but with all of that config applied, it's all right. It's not better than all right. It's great. And they're actively working on the Wayland support now, so it's all good. Right then. Just getting to the end of the comments here. It's lovely how chatty everyone is. Right then. So I was gonna have a little look at so we looked at dev shells, but yeah, dev shells are awesome. So oh yeah, that's my favorite git alias. Made me chuckle when I thought of that. So I think we want CO, yes, which is just that. But I probably want to add. Do I want to add? No, that's all I need, isn't it? Because I'm not running it through a function. So I do want to do checkouts. What's the other things I do fairly often? I do want to do clones, CL. Let's think. What was the other stuff that I was? Yeah, I want to do. Not quite sure what shorthand to use for this. I do want to do commit, yes, but put that there. There was one other I was thinking. It was the pull stuff. So I've got pull. Yeah. Maybe I'll just call it her. Actually, let's take that suggestion and just make it her. Because I don't rebase by default. I always fast forward. That's how I've got the rest of the config down here, I believe. Yeah, rebase is false. But sometimes I do need to do a pull with a rebase. I think per will do that. Yeah, well, you know, sometimes Git goes wrong and the only thing to do is get fucked. So there it is. Oh wow, okay, so there's a few people hopefully still watching on YouTube. Hello, thank you for watching and sticking with it. If you've got Twitch accounts, come over to Twitch. I need to get this whole, I've got it in my massive to-do list of stream stuff, but hey Marcelo, watching on both. Okay. Eric, I love that you can see what tools others are using. Okay, H. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to pay attention. So H is hop, and it's specifically for projects. So let's think of something up here. Let's do OBS Studio Portable, hop, and it specifically goes to the Git projects, which all have a common structure. So if I go to, in fact, let's get in the habit. Let's do that. So in the development directory, we have, ignore that one. That was me helping my daughter with her coding challenge at school. These are organized, and that one as well is a tutorial. Game dev tutorial if you're interested. These are the places where I have code, you know, around the place. And it works by, if we just look at the GitHub stuff, it's them by org or project. So TPW rules, and then we have NixOS Silicon. Okay, so H, the hop command, can do cloning as well in this directory structure. So if I hop to, what did I just see? Let's do, oh gosh, I can't think of anything. I don't know. Well, OBS Studio Portable. OBS Studio Portable. That ends up sticking me in that directory there, which is where I work on that. So H I use just for jumping around the Git projects. And then you saw me do Z earlier. That's what I use instead of CD. That does the same thing, but just generally around the directories that I go in. So there you go, Eric. That's H and Z that I use as shorthands. Still have to try Nix. Okay. And Gabriel, power level 10K. No, this is Powerline Go is what I'm using for my prompt. Powerline Go. So it's a Powerline implementation written in Go. Mostly because all of this Git stuff, particularly when you do something foolish like this, I mean, that took a couple of seconds, but in the other Powerline implementations, it goes for a long time. That is a massive repo. And Nathan says on YouTube, what distro are you maining now? NixOS. NixOS is what I'm running at the moment. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's get the stats up. Let's do oh, there we go. That's everything you need to know. I'll leave it on the screen for a moment. And you'll also see the DE in there. It's Pantheon Desktop, which is the desktop developed by the Elementary OS team. So Big Linton, I think my Mastodon does come round on there as well. And there we go. There you go. There's a key for that. So, and hey Bazjam, welcome to the stream. Let me just check something. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you here. And how did you find us? I'm always interested to know. I'll tell you something I've been thinking about. Here's a straw poll for people that are watching. I've been thinking about obviously doing the multi-streaming thing to YouTube, which appears to be generally working today. I've sacked off using third-party restreaming tools. They all suck. So I'm doing it myself. But I was thinking about starting to do multi-streaming to an Owncast instance, which I can then integrate with Mastodon and the Fediverse and all the rest of it. I'm curious how interested, those of you that are watching here on Twitch and YouTube, would you be at all interested in stuff being streamed via Owncast? Is that something you'd be interested in? It's the first time I've suggested that I might do that, but I'm interested in having a play with that. So glad that you finally made it here when I'm live. Bazjam, it should be easier to catch me here now. I will still be doing streams European time in the morning, but I'm going to do more of these evening streams as well. I kind of like the evening stuff. I knocked it on the head when I was working at Slim, because quite often if I was working late, I'd just finish and I'd be too knackered to think about streaming, which was why I streamed in the mornings, because most of my colleagues were in the US, so I could stream in the morning and then do a full day work US time. But now it's a bit more balanced at Betsys, so I can stream mornings and evenings. Yeah. Okay, Owncast. Okay, well, let's take a look at Owncast. Owncast is wicked cool. I was at the Ubuntu Summit in November, and I went to the presentation about Owncast, and it is terrific. This is Owncast. It's basically self-hosted Twitch. It's the simplest way to describe it. Fully open source, and it integrates with the Fediverse. So here it is. Yep, it's Twitch but for the Fediverse. It is awesome. It is so good. I mean, there are things that I would like it to do, but what it already does is way beyond what I thought, anyone would tackle, and it works really well, and it's a single Go binary. Hey Richard, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate that. So yeah, it's super cool. So Bastian says they've been listening to the Ubuntu podcast forever. I was sad when it was done, but then came Linux Matters for the rescue. I'm glad you're enjoying the new podcast. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for listening. So yeah, running your own streaming service. That's what I'd say Owncast is. Yeah. So Big Linter, what I'm interested in having a play at is, because obviously when you're doing your own streaming, every person you're streaming to, that's additional bandwidth. So I think it would be interesting to scale that using S3. So find some S3 provider, stream into the S3 bucket and use the S3 bucket as like a CDN, or use the S3 bucket as the endpoint. So you hand off the bandwidth problems. You stream once to the S3 bucket, and all of your viewers stream ingest from the S3 bucket, because it's just a FIFO at the end of the day. That's a massive oversimplification of how RTFPS works. And then maybe stick a CDN in front of it. I mean, that could be an interesting few streams just to get that working, right? Yeah, I don't know if it supports the P2P things, but the way that, streaming works is traditionally not like that. So, So Big Linter, yes, S3 does cost money. So that's a downside, but there are some places where it's kind of okay pricing, but I'm not going to know unless I try, so I want to try. Hello, Akiri Knight, how the devil are you? Happy New Year to you. Yeah, So Hakiri, thank you for working on the quick pass-through stuff. I really need to get round to looking at that at some point. Sorry that I haven't got to it sooner, but I saw you'd done a load of work recently. Congrats on that. Yeah, I just don't know. So the thing about using Owncast ads is it's interesting. It's an interesting little project. I don't know if I would find new people streaming in that way, or if it would cannibalize people that are watching here on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, interesting. So, wow. Richard, thank you. You subbed from YouTube and an alert came up. Well, that was an unexpected outcome, but I'm glad it worked. I'm very confused. So something worked there that I just wasn't expecting to work. But thank you very much for the sub. That's very kind. Right. Yeah, so you've Hakiri's got 2.0 of the quick pass-through stuff. Yeah, so here you go, Hakiri. This might scare you. I've been thinking about rewriting QuickEmu as well in a different language. The prototype bash script that has become a product. It's technical debt of a first class order. So I'm thinking of rewriting it in something else. When I say something else, if I'm going to rewrite it, I'll rewrite it in Lua, I think. Not in Lisp, God no. No, I'm thinking of writing it in Lua. I'm doing a lot with Lua. I've picked Lua as my new de facto language for everything. So no more shell scripts, Lua. No more Python, Lua. Everything I do regarding game development, the engines that I'm interested in, they all use Lua as the interface to the game engine. OBS Studio, I've moved all of my shonky integrations that were shell scripts and crap, that I've rewritten those as actual Lua scripts that use the OBS API to do various stuff. What else did I find that was Lua? Anyway, I have found that most of the things that I'm interested in, I can use Lua. And I did do a project in Rust recently, which if you've listened to Linux Matters, you will know about. And there's an upcoming update on that project. And I like Go and Rust for that single binary experience. And I've been looking at Nalua, which is a Lua language, but it's compiled single binary, many of the same attributes of Rust and Go in that respect. So I can make a little sort of side shift to Nalua and use that for systems programming. So I'm trying to gravitate around this one language for everything. So yeah, if I have a go at rewriting QuickEmu, I'd be interested in doing it in Lua, and for a couple of reasons. One, I think that would be good for getting my muscle memory around the language, and also Lua's really easy to learn. And one of the reasons why QuickEmu has had so many contributors is because everyone can bash script, and Lua's not hard. So I thought that may help keep the contribution level high, and also ease the transition to doing it in a new language. I don't know if I've got time to rewrite it in another language, but if I can find the time, that's what I would like to do. Problem is, I want to be writing a lot more games. So if I start embarking on rewriting QuickEmu, I think I can write off months of this year, which won't be playing with game engines. It will be rewriting stuff that I've already done. So I need to grapple with that. I didn't know Pandoc supports Lua, but that's very interesting, because I've been looking at Pandoc as well, because I've been thinking about writing a book so many crazy ideas in my head and stuff that I just don't have time to do it all, but I want to. So yeah, I've been looking at Pandoc as a platform for actually creating Markdown, but for publishing, which would be cool. But it's nice to know it supports Lua. So yeah, all the things I care about, there's lots of Lua support, so I wanna do more Lua. Ah, okay, so you wrote quick parser in Golang. Interesting. And what is the single binary quality was what you liked about using Golang, is that right? Yeah, I'll speak to you before I make any big changes, Hakiri. Let's see if we can get our ducks lined up for this. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So you've been. So I've seen a lot of familiar faces in the uBlue project. Interesting. Yeah, they're doing good work. George is doing fantastic stuff over. Well, not just George, but you know, he kind of bootstrapped the whole movement. But there's lots of good stuff coming out of that stuff. Big Linda, I wonder what would happen if you would let ChatGPT-4 write a book nowadays. Well, it would probably do it. I'm using a lot of AI assistive technologies these days. It is saving me a ton of time. In fact, I mentioned which script can I show? The music one. I mentioned writing some scripts. So let me just bring this on screen. I think I can do this whilst I'm streaming and it won't upset anything. So this is my scripts tool from OBS, and these are the two that I've written. So that parachute drop game at the beginning, this is a bit of Lua that I wrote that automatically rotates the different versions of the game based on the date. So basically it's a seasonal relevant version of the game, so winter, spring, Easter, Halloween, Christmas, all that sort of thing. So this was originally a shell script, and now playing is let me just see, does this work? Let me just do something. I'm just going to skip a track here and see if this actually works. It's not working. Bad example. Let me hit. In fact, I'm not going to click anything. Okay, that is supposed to it's supposed to be displaying the music up here, which clearly isn't working. In fact, I'm done with this. Let's. There we go. Change music. Anyway, it's not working. That's a bit disappointing. But these two Lua scripts were originally shell scripts, and I used ChatGPT to port them and give me the initial versions, and then I've iterated on them and apparently broken this one, so I need to fix that. But the ports were impressive in that they were both completely functional direct ports of the shell scripts. And then what I did to tweak them is, instead of calling out to utilities to manipulate OBS WebSockets, which is what the shell scripts did, I then rewrote them to use the OBS API internally within those tools. So yeah, and there's a whole project here. This project here, which I spoke about initially on Linux Matters. This whole project is AI generated. I don't know Rust. But here is a fully functioning Rust project. Here is the code. I sort of understand what it does now, because obviously I had a hand in writing it. but it was iteratively developed by me using a collection of tools. And as I point out here, you can listen about it in episode 16, and I think in episode 20, which is out next week, I think, that will be the follow-up where I go from this initial proof of concept to a fully complete, and here it is. Here's the actual application running. Here we go. This is what it does. You tell it Internet Archive get, give it a URL to an Internet Archive page. It scrapes all the metadata and then downloads all the files. That's what it does. And I wrote that in a language I do not know. And I deliberately chose Rust because it has a couple of interesting properties. I don't know it. I don't know very much about the Rust ecosystem, so I really don't understand if the prompts I was getting back were right or not. But the Rust compiler is very good, very picky, very accurate, and the error messages are very on point. So I was using that as my verification. Like, if the Rust compiler was happy, I was thinking it should generate code that works, or at least did what I asked. So I went around several iterations, and here it is. It's a tool that works, and I'm quite pleased with it. Any examples of my own Lua code? Yeah, I was just going to go and show that, although, as we've just identified, it's not sodding working. I'm just going to have a little look here. I'm not seeing... I'm seeing the prompt. Let's see if we can fix it live. Here we go. Right then. Let's have a look at the now playing thing. So where is that? That's in code, scripts, no, not scripts, studio, OBS, scripts, there we go, and now playing. Here we go. So this is what I was working on earlier today. It does a couple of things. So it uses a coroutine to implement a timer, because I want this to be a long-running, constantly updating process. So there's an excellent thread on the OBS forums with loads of tips and tricks for coding in Lua. I yanked this straight out of there. This is just copy paste. And then this is some code that's left over from the conversion from the bash script. This was ChatGPT created this. I haven't found a better way to do it, so it's stayed. This is getting a scene item by source name, and I use that as sort of a wrapper effectively. And this is me setting a text source. So in OBS you can have different source types, like a browser source, text, an image, a video, what else? All sorts. But I want to update the text of one of these things with the currently playing track information. So this is the main function, which, as you can see, runs forever. And it is running. I can see in the log files here, as the track changes, the log file says and it's got the name of the track, which is correct, and the artist, which is also correct. So if I just look down here, the code is getting to here. It's just not making it. This bit here where it sets that item visible is not working, which is odd, because I can see this line show up in the log files, and I can see that it did all of this. So at the moment I'm cheating. I say cheating. There is a dbus library for Lua, but using those things inside OBS scripts is hard. As in hard enough that I just sidestepped it. So I'm just using player control to poke at the dbus for me, which is probably fine. So that should, it should still work. That's the about box that you saw. When the script loads, it says is player control available, which we know it is. When it unloads, it just doesn't do anything. And then there's the coroutine to start the timer to periodically update. And the reason we need that is we have this here, a little sleep. So each time we do an update, I've seen it again. It's picked up the track change. I can see in the logs. This is the, I'll just put in chat. This is what I see in the log file to know that this is working. Oh my god, it's 1:15. So that just popped up in the logs. So I can see it's getting to the right code point. So, and I know for a fact this was working earlier. Let's go. Wah! Let's go and look at, let's enable studio mode. And what am I looking for? Music now playing. Where's that? That's in, is it in stats? It is, isn't it? I'm just going to turn it on manually. There you go. So this script should be turning this thing on and off. As the track changes, it should turn it on, and then 20 seconds later it should do this, turn it off. And it has stopped working. What? Have I got some random typo in my... Let's just do this. Let's go to the top here, because we've got visible source. There it is. The visible source is called now playing. How was this working earlier and not now? Don't know. Well, that's another mystery. So that's two things. Channel point redemptions, which we know aren't working because the auth keys have expired or something. That's tractable. And this mysteriously, I literally have been working on this evening. And it was working fine. And I'm certain I've changed nothing. And as I say, I can see it gets to the right code point here. And I know that is correct. That's got the correct data in it. So music source is also correct. I can verify that's correct because I can go and turn it back on again. So let's go and do that. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. Now, I will warn you, if I suddenly disappear, there may be bugs in this code because I have crashed OBS whilst I've been tinkering with this, which is why I'm reluctant to hit the reload button, because it could be there's a bug in here somewhere and it brings down the whole of OBS. But, you know, that's exciting. It shouldn't take me very long to just bring OBS back up. It shouldn't interrupt the stream. I'll be gone for a moment, but I can bring it back. Let's just look and see. If we turn this on, the current track it's just about to change. So we'll let it change. Come on, get to the end of the song. 2 seconds, it says. There we go. There's a new song. This song is called Highland. So if I turn it on by hand, yeah, Highland. There we go. That's the name of the song by Stream Beats by Harris Heller. That is correct. So the code that updates the track information is correct. But it doesn't like that so it might be that it doesn't like that it's a group that I am changing the visibility of there. But it was working. Okay. So it is what's music? What's that? Oh, that's the icon. I'm just looking in OBS. Okay. Oh, it's an image. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So let's turn studio mode on again. Okay, well, the OBS side of things looks fine. So what could this be? it must be that get item thing that's not working, but that was fine. So I'll go and check that. Let's just see. I saw there was some things here. So big lint. Oh, hey, Nat Longcat. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you're enjoying OBS development in Lua. Yeah, well, just Lua development in general. I entered a game jam in June or July last year, and I used Pico 8, which is a fantasy console, and the language for that is Lua, and I loved working with Lua. Particularly in a game jam when it's all very crunch, I just got up to speed with Lua really fast. And I was like, I want more of this. So that was kind of impactful for me. So yeah, the game engines that I'm interested in are all Lua based. I tried to build stuff in languages I'd never used before on Twitch. Okay. More exotic the better. Yeah. Yeah. I experiment with languages from time to time, but I have limited time, which is why I've decided, like years ago, I was building a dev team. This is a few jobs back. And I'd never used Python at that point. But I did sort of a look around, and at that time, for what we were doing, I decided we would do everything in Python. One language, nothing else. That's all we would use. And it was a very successful policy of like a small team. You can't afford developers for everything imaginable. Let's do everything in one platform. So I'm just applying that same sort of thought process to my own time. Yeah, so Hakiri, I'm trying to break that habit of like writing tons of bash scripts, because quite often they end up turning into something, and I love bash. I think it's kind of fantastic what you can write in bash, but I need to stop. In batch, oh wow, 45,000 lines. Wow. Yeah, I mean, QuickEmu, I showed it to the guys at work and they were like scrolling for 5 minutes on one of the scripts. I think it's 10,000 lines, one of the scripts in QuickEmu. 10,000 lines of bash, one file. They were like looking at me like I was a crazy person. And, you know, there's a little bit of that going on. It is sort of a little bit of a troll. But yeah, I need to stop it. So there is also a funny bug I found in OBS Studio where it would not load all of the plugins in the add source context menu unless you unhighlighted and highlighted the ad. I've not seen that, Hakiri. Okay. Just catching up. Natlongcat asks what Lua dialect I mentioned earlier. Let me show you. That is probably the best way. It is this. Nlua. And I think that speaks for itself. So it has a number of interesting characteristics. But there we go. Systems programming language heavily based on Lua. So you can see here, if you look at the language, it's very similar, but it's statically typed because at the end of the day, it actually is like a preprocessor to C. So it's mega fast. It's faster than Rust. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, and you can just bind C libraries to it. I say just, you know, the usual FFI nonsense. I haven't done much with it. I've only scratched the surface, but I've decided the next time I need to do one of those single binary type projects, this is what I'm going to do it in, again, to keep my head in that sort of Lua space. I'll put a link in the chat, so anyone that wants that, there we go. I need to come back to here. Just realized. There we go. Okay, good. Right then. You're welcome, Nat. It's relatively new. I think it was started in either 2019 or 2021. And there's a couple of things that aren't complete yet, but you know, have a look. I found it very interesting. A little bit too close to see in terms of some of the knowledge you need to carry with you. But I mean, I actually ended up writing C. Was it last year? I think it was, for the first time in forever. I mean, I remembered all the reasons why I don't want to be writing C as a result of that. But yeah, I think I could overlook that for sort of this kind of stuff. But if you read it, it's extremely well documented. I'm very impressed with that. So I read this, and the documentation and the FAQ got me up to speed really quickly. Still, that doesn't help explain why this, which I'm certain should be working, is not. Return item. So source name, site, source, fine, scene, from there, item, find. Well, that looks fine. We know this is working because we've checked to see that it's actually writing the right thing in. You know what? I wonder... I wonder if it's because I've put that variable in the local scope. No, it can't be, because this is updating. Well, I tell you what, let's just do a quick test. Now, like I say, there is every possibility I bring down all of OBS. Oh, Hakiri, the auto mod stepped in. There we go. Let's let that through. Okay. See ya. Yeah, 2:30. Okay, you're on the continent. Have a good one. I'll have to have a go. So let's see if we can do this. Let's do this instead of let's first of all, why am I turning it off twice here? Let's do that, and let's change visible source. No, that must be working because oh, I don't use visible source here. Oh, actually, I'm not seeing any. Oh yeah, hide, now playing. It is being passed through correctly. Well, let's try this. Okay. I'm going to give everyone fair warning. I'm going to hit reload on this script. I'm going to count it down. Actually, I could do it on stream. Here it is. So, if everything disappears, there is a bug in this script somewhere, and it took OBS with it. So here we go. We're going to reload this script. It didn't kill everything, and it did put up the new thing. So I'm now going to, how do I skip a track easily? I need to bind some controls. Let's try this. Well, it's logging the fact that it changed the track, but that didn't help. Okay, it was a nice idea while it lasted. So that changed exactly nothing. So I'll have to investigate that. I wonder what that could be. Like I say, it was definitely working. OBS. I have got that declared at the top here, haven't I? Yeah, I have. Well, I wonder why that's... I wonder if it stopped working and I just didn't notice that it stopped working. No. Yeah, like I say, I'm only cautious because I have, when I was fiddling with them, it might have been the other script, but one of them was at times, maybe it was whilst I was coding it and I did have genuine mistakes in there, it was killing it. Killing the whole of OBS. Right, okay, I'm not going for long. I am just going to get a drink. I will be back in like 2 minutes. You can play the drop game whilst I'm gone. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, right. Sorry about that. Let's try an idea. As we're looking at that bit of Lua, I was just thinking maybe it's because, so it's in a group. It's hello. It's 2 items that are in our group in OBS, and maybe it doesn't like enabling stuff there in the group. So I might try. Let's see if we can edit OBS live. Let's just switch that there we go. Right then, let's try this again. So I'm going to go into studio mode. This is going to be a bit complicated for me, but I'll try and bring things onto the screen that I can. So we're looking at the stats related stuff, which I can't show because that appears inside of here. Or maybe I can detach. Can I detach this and bring it onto? Oh, I can't display OBS's own components on the stream. That makes sense. Oh, no, I'm doing it wrong. Let's try this. Do that. And then bring this down here. Oh my God, I can't see what I'm doing now though. That won't work. Okay, it was a nice idea while it lasted. So, yeah. No, that's not going to work. Okay, but let's think. Okay, let's try doing this a different way. Let's turn that on, which is permanently displaying the music. Okay, let's leave that there. Let's see if it turns it off. I'm going to instigate a track change. No, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. Let's see if it disappears when it says hide. It says, yeah, it didn't turn it off. So whatever the mechanism was that was toggling that is stopped working. So let's see if it's group related. Let's do this. They're called music and music track. Okay, let's bring up OBS code. Here we go. We'll change this to instead of that, we'll change it to music and music track. So there's two sources in the group, and I've left the group permanently visible, and now we'll try and manipulate the two items inside the group just to see if that works. And then we'll do the inverse here. This is not a fix, this is just me testing the idea to see if it might be something to do with group visibility.
Thank you for subscribing, Drayak.
Hello, Drayak. Thank you very much for the sub. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to the stream. Right then, let's do false for that. Turn it off and false here and save. So let's just think about this. Is there anything here? There's no... If I turn off, if I save that Nix file and close it, problems. There are no problems, so there's no obvious issues with this. Terminal, no, that'll do. So, let's see. Like I said before, this is the bit where we could crash OBS, so let's hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to count in. If I disappear, I'll be back in a few seconds. We're going to reload that script. Okay. Just happened to reload, so I'm just going to watch as it didn't crash OBS. But we'll see if when it gets to the hide loop, I'm looking at my logs down here to wait for the period where it should turn things off. Hide. It didn't work either. Oh, this was definitely working earlier. Yeah. Well, in which case, I've got some busted code there that does that. That get item thing clearly doesn't work. I wonder if it's since I put the coroutine in that it doesn't work. Oh, it could be that. So this is where, you know, learning a new language, I may have foot-gunned myself here. Okay, well, more research required. So I think we'll just return that back to that. And Get item. I wonder... Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could put all that longhand in there and see if... Should we try that? Oop. Ah. Let's try this. Visible source, release that. I've still got the item here, so I should be able to just change. Didn't want to do that. Just change this line to be item. Maybe let's just see if we can turn it off. So let's save that. Any obvious problems? It doesn't look like it. No. Okay, so source. Am I using source anywhere in here? I don't think I am I? No. Okay, so source scene item. Visible source, that's definitely the same, right? Yeah. Release that object, which should be fine because we have item here. And then we'll set that visible item. Okay. Okay, well, let's hit save. And let's do the whole reload my script live again. Golly gosh, wow. Let's hope this doesn't bust things. Here we go. Now playing reload. Hang on, I'm just going to hit edit script. I just want to make sure I'm editing the same version that OBS has loaded. Yes, I am. Okay. I just opened that up. So here we go. I can bring this back on stream. Right, we're going to reload.